That we have more coming up on the show this morning. Remember that the government of Nigeria, under the watch of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, took over from President Muhammadu Buhari on the 29th of May. And from that day, Nigerians have not stopped lamenting, and of course, the experiences of hardship, as a result of the increase in the prices of petroleum products. And of course, that has, culminated to prices of goods and services soaring on a daily basis. If you go to the market today, return tomorrow, and you'll notice that the price has changed upwards, from what you bought it the previous day, and so on and so forth. A lot of families in Nigeria are crying, suffering as a result of this. And the federal government, rose up to say that they are trying to release some money to states to alleviate the plight of the masses. So yesterday, the government of Anambra State, under the watch of Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo, doled out some measures to see that the effects of the economic challenges are cushioned in the state. And today we are here to talk about Anambra State interim response to cushion the effect of economic challenges. In the studio this morning, I have Ebuka Obikwelo. Ebuka Onyekwelo is a blogger, a columnist, and a public affairs analyst. Ebuka, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
All right. Now, I don't know, how does it feel to see fellow Nigerians going through a lot as a result of the prices of the petroleum product? Transportation's increased, food prices soared higher, and a whole lot of other things. What was the feeling as a citizen of the state?
Okay, well, good morning, Nigerians, and good morning, Anambra. First of all, I like to say, like we've said before here, that the real situation is the fact that Nigeria can no longer afford subsidies. Because essentially what we are looking at is subsidy for PMS, that's a premium motor spirit, as petrol, and also subsidy for dollar exchange. And so Nigeria, being in a kind of a state of confusion as regards its preferred economic system or economic path to development, has been managing these subsidies and also trying to take a leap, or to jumpstart a much better credible system that can guarantee development for the people and of course for the state. And it has been very difficult. And so that was what informed the action that was taken by the president to remove subsidy from PMS and also remove the dollar subsidy, which we've said here over time that the dollar or the foreign currencies or foreign exchange were subsidized by Nigeria's foreign reserve. And so upon that removal, it means that the people will begin to pay the full cost of PMS, the full cost of naira to or dollar to naira or naira to dollar exchange. And so now, of course, there are consequences to that. When you used to pay, say maybe 450 for to exchange your naira to dollar per dollar, and then all of a sudden the government removes the balance which the government used to pay, and then you are now paying the full amount for the exchange. And also the same thing happens in PMS. So that is what we are seeing happening. And then the government has responded to see how it can arrest the situation and see how it can contain the adverse effect. Because the truth is that Nigeria is actually not ready or prepared for this transition. And the truth again is that there is never a time that Nigeria will be ready or prepared for this transition, because already we have a situation in the country where there are lost opportunities. We've already lost opportunities to prepare for this kind of transition. For instance, if you look at some Asian countries like Singapore, Indonesia, and if you look at some of these other countries like like some of the Asian Asian countries again, like the Southeast Asian countries, like I mentioned, earlier. And also, if you look at some other countries that are also transiting, like Arab countries, yes. You look at some of these Arab countries, see how they've moved. They took advantage of the oil economy, and they've been able to move away, sort of, from the oil through serious focus on critical infrastructure and other investments that are, going to be able to sustain them and sustain the system, so that the people do not feel the harsh reality of such transition. And so, in Nigeria, the case is different. We've not been able to. We are not able to take full advantage of our petrodollar and, of course, other natural resources that we've been traded, that we've traded for years. And so, because of these lost opportunities, we are still not able to guarantee steady power supply for the ordinary Nigerians. Even in the seat of power, they still use generator as source, as a credible source of power supply. And so these are issues that, when you look at them, there are no words. But beyond that, we haven't been able to sort water supply. We haven't been able to fix our roads. We haven't been able to guarantee any form of stability.
And the burden is on the common man.
These are things, of course, people do not eat money. So if civil servants are saying that they need salary increment, that they need more, when people say they need more money, they need this money to be able to sort themselves. They need the money to be able to provide their own electricity. They need the money to be able to provide their own water. They need the money to be able to transport themselves. We've not been able to organize our transport system. We've not been able to fix any infrastructure that can, take part of this weight on the people. And so that is why we are here. And as it is, it is now what it is. And of course, we are going to go full cycle.
All right. Now it seems there is light, for the time being. Let me put it that way, because the broadcast that was made yesterday, yes, by our governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, concerning the cushioning of the effect of economic challenges on the people of Anambra. You can say it for the time being, because part of what he said was that all the civil servants in the state will get 12,000 naira from September to December, because he has given the civil servants 10%. Since January, it's been paid. Now, I don't know, you saw that, yes, you listened to it, or you saw the, yes, the write-up, What's your assessment, of that broadcast made by the governor yesterday?
Yes, well, I think what the governor has said, of course, is part of the efforts the government is expected to make, to be able to see ways and means of assisting to reduce this burden on the people. For instance, transport fare has more than doubled, in most cases, and the impact, of course, is telling on the people. While your expense is increasing, your salary is stable. And so there is no way, no how we can, in good conscience, sustain that kind of arrangement. And so I'm aware the governor has made an increase of 10% on the salaries of civil servants, of which graduates in Anambra State doesn't earn so much. We know, and it's a problem, because if we are talking about living, standard of living, you can't you can't live above your means. In this sense, I mean to say that you cannot be able to live a high quality life or a quality life that is above your source. I mean, it's practically impossible for you to stay healthy, for you to be able to afford certain things that will enable you live certain quality or standard of life. And so it's a problem. And also, but I'd like to commend the governor on the following basis, because if you look at what the governor did, try to touch so many areas apart from the 12,000 naira transfer, which I think is a plus. But also perhaps the government might even consider to give certain level of civil servants some days off within the week. If you don't really have so much doing, then the work can be piled up for you. You come twice or 3 times within the week and get the work done with. And then the other days you can go and take care of your businesses. So this could also even serve as a better option. And then also, when the money that has already been added, the 12,000 naira for the civil servants, of course, it's a plus, because it will go a long way to improving their spending power, their ability to live a healthier life. And also, when you look at what the governor said about the primary health centers, when we look at the Lagos system, the primary health care centers in Lagos, see, the PHCs are some of the most credible sources of for assessing health treatments and other health benefits in places like Lagos. And so, but in Anambra, for some time, the PHCs are almost dead. I remember when we were growing up, anytime we come down to we're around in Anambra here, there's a PHC around my area, my village, where we do go for immunization and then it was always open for. But as we talk today, I can't even remember the last time. I think that place has even been overrun by grasses, by weeds. So these are things we need to be able to, if we are thinking in terms of a sustainable development, we have to think in terms of, we have to think at community level. We have to think of things that will provide immediate service to the community. And when we think along that line, we would see the essence of PHCs. And so it gladdened my heart to see the governor emphasizing on using PHCs to bring quality, healthy living closer to the people. And so the governor also offered that people who are pregnant women can go for their antenatals for free, and also put to bed for free. So now these are some of the things that real things that are going to have real impact on the people, on the real people. So because sometimes when you say you are going to do this and do that, we're not able to really aggregate some of these things. But you see, a program like offering free antenatal to pregnant women and also, of course, offering them free delivery at government hospitals is something that is commendable, something that is real. When you go there, you can see people, pregnant women, going for their antenatals, or people or those who are putting to bed. You see them; they are there, they are real, and so that is also commendable. And there are also other things that the governor said that are further even commendable. But then, I think the next year's budget will actually spell out precise things that the governor intends to do in terms of carrying the people along, in terms of trying to lift people from poverty. And of course, the governor himself committed to lifting, I think, about 1 million, or creating about 1 million jobs or so. I think I still remember who is during the campaign, of new jobs in Anambra State. So, and mind you, that even before the economic, the present economic pressures we are experiencing, the government had already moved to create a kind of an unprecedented agro development in terms of giving seedlings, enhanced seedlings to people, not just farmers, but
it was
families.
equally captured. Yes.
Oh, okay, yes, I saw. Yes, I had the governor. But I'm just saying that that's also part of the programs, because
that one is long term.
Of course, long time, yes. But what I really want to say is, if our governments are able to live up to expectation, if our governments are able to do what they are supposed to do, if they're able to create the necessary environment for people to thrive, if they're able to do the things they're supposed to do, to be able to inspire people to think ahead, if our government are able to think ahead and plan ahead, some of these difficulties that our people are facing would not be the case today. And so that is the point I really want to make about the seedlings that were handed to people. Okay. So because we are sure that in the next few years, people can harvest their palm and sell. People can harvest their coconut and sell.
Okay.
It becomes a major source of income.
Now we've seen that document released yesterday. We've watched Governor made a speech yesterday concerning the palliative, and we are Nigerians. We live in Nigeria. We know what is obtainable in Nigeria. Now, I don't know. One thing is making a statement, beautiful policy, but the next thing is ensuring that the policies are carried out efficiently and effectively, that it gets to the people that are actually in need. We know that in this country, that most times you see what is meant for the poor people find their ways in the pockets of very few individuals. So I don't know what you can say in this aspect.
Yes,
because even the 10% that said they started paying from January, some people are not getting it, and I don't know whether the government are doing their investigations to ensure that when they say something should be done, that thing is done to the latter.
Yes, I totally agree with you. In fact, when I reassessed what the governor said yesterday, I was looking at the provisions for loan, for grants. Most times politicians see these things as free money that they can use at will. So what I expect the government to do is to have a clear database that where these individuals are identified. They are clearly identified, not make-up list where you bring fictitious people, fictitious non-existent people and add in a list, and then you use that to siphon money. That is what is obtained in Nigeria in most cases. So I expect the government to do its due diligence and ensure that the people, the so-called beneficiaries, are real people who are doing real things and who can be identified. It is critical. Then when we're talking about the 10%, of course, because I don't know why some people are not getting the 10%, but I think if they've made the formal complaint through the process, the laid out process, I want to believe that the government, of course, or the Civil Service Commission should be able to look into that and take care of that, or even their ministries, as the case may be. But also the additional 12,000 to the salary, yes, of course, the governor said. I also expect that due diligence be followed in the disbursement of this, money. So the money does not end up into the pockets of people who are not supposed to have them. And so, which is the recurrent decimal in Nigeria. So I want to believe that the government is going to do its due diligence to ensure that, like I said before, these things are gained by real people. For instance, when we look at what the governor said about the health, the pregnant women, those for free antenatal, so when you look at this, you see that it's very. And by the way, there are so many other ways that government can actually reach out without doling out money, because we've seen this over time. This issue of giving money to people is always problematic. And so that's why, like I said, I want to emphasize again that the loans, the soft loan, the grants that the government intend to give to people, intend to give to nano or the agri loan, which of course would flow from the federal. I want to believe that the government of Anambra State is going to do its due diligence to ensure that those who are getting these loans, grants, or financial assistance are real people, the people who the monies are meant for, so that these monies do not disappear in the pockets of
few individuals. All right. The program is Good Morning Anambra Show, and we are looking at the Anambra State interim response to cushion the effects of economic challenges. Beautiful promises there, beautiful, response as outlined by the governor in his speech yesterday. But here we have Ibuka, nudging the government to ensure that what has been said gets to the people that is rightly meant for. At this point, we're going to take a short break. Let's feel the pulse of the masses. We'll be back in a jiffy. Please do stay.
Great news for Anambra Broadcasting Service ABS audience. You can now watch ABS television through any of these ways.
Buy a terrestrial antenna and connect to your television. Search ABS Channel 24 Oka or ABS Channel 27 Onitsha. Install StarTimes cable decoder and search ABS Channel 113. Install Metro Digital cable decoder and search ABS Channel 29.
Watch ABS TV on your smart TV or smartphone by downloading Anambra Broadcasting Service app on Google Play Store. Also watch via ABS Facebook page at ABS Radio Television and ABS YouTube page at ABS Television Oka.
ABS TV is now also on satellite. You can watch us from anywhere in Nigeria and other African countries. Simply install ViewSat TV decoder or any other free-to-air decoder and tune into channel 0031.
Whichever option you choose, stay abreast of breaking news, documentaries, children's shows, talk shows, comedy, sports, movies, and lots more on your darling TV station.
For adverts and program sponsorship, contact 0803-388-8526 or 0806-883-9902.
ABS, Heartbeat of the East.
You're welcome to the studios of Good Morning Anambra, talking Anambra State interim response to cushion the effects of economic challenges. The statement came from the governor yesterday in his speech at the Golden Tulip yesterday, and I have in the studio Ebuka Onyekwelo. We apologize, we're not able to bring you the vox pop from the people outside there, but I believe that we represent the people here. Right, if you're watching, it's audience participatory. You can call and ask any question or make any contribution to what we are saying this morning. Now, Ebuka, we've really talked a lot about, making a statement, beautiful statement, now ensuring that it is carried out to the latter. In that statement made by the governor yesterday, or that speech, there are so many beautiful things there. And you know that our people, some of these bus drivers, keke drivers, some of them are not really into listening to the radio as often as possible. I don't know how the message you get to them, but because they were actually captured in what the governor said yesterday. So how do you think the message can get to them? And of course, to ensure that what is meant for them, because most of them are angry at the high rate of whatever the tax they are, but the governor has actually reduced that yesterday. So what's your take on that?
Yes, what of course is simple. Is an old saying that action speaks louder than voice. And so if by virtue of implementation of collection of these taxes or levies or tariffs from these KK bus drivers, they notice that they are no longer paying. Of course, I think the governor said was taking off about 20% from their usual, taxes or tariffs. And so if they notice that, of course, there is a discount, they would ask question, what is going on? Why am I now paying lesser? So that's a better way to even reach out to people, especially since they are not really conversant with government pronouncements, because they don't really follow up with this kind of issues. And so that's even a way to begin to build consciousness of citizens. So because if they see, if they used to pay so and so amount, and then upon payment or upon request for the payment, they noticed that there is a significant discount, because 20%, of course, is a reasonable discount. So if they notice that there is such reasonable discount from what they used to pay, they would, of course, ask questions, and then they are told that the governor, did this to be able to ameliorate the difficulties they are facing with the current economic pressures. Of course, they would be interested to know what is actually going on. So it begins to build confidence, begins to position the government as a partner in progress. Because unfortunately, a lot of Nigerians do not see government as partners. Instead, they see government as exploiters.
Because of the gap.
Yes, because of the gap.
The huge gap.
But programs like this begin to bring people to
Closer
become
to them.
much more interested in what goes on in.
All right, now we know that most times there are, things that could be clogging the wheel of progress of having this come to fruition. And this is expected to begin September, and September is around the corner next week. So what do you think will be the challenges that could be faced, and ways to ameliorate the challenges so that this will fly?
No, the challenges are the usual old challenges. Of course, where politicians try to get in and see how they can dance around these things, and then be able to answer. Some people will want to take advantage of the money, because it's all about, every time it's about the money, in an economy.
How much will it, what will go around, what will you do with
you
it?
see, that's what we were taught, the substructure and the superstructure and how this one comes. So the money, in this case, the money can be seen as the superstructure. That's what everybody is interested in. So what I think is the government should do well to de-emphasize money, and of course should do well to ensure that the people who the money are going to are real people. Because if you say you are giving a Bukonya so and so amount as soft loan or as grant to help his business or his services or whatever, you know that this person is a person. This is an individual person. If you say you are giving to so and so, you know that this person can be identified. This is Noyinwokoye. So but if you say, if you now bring in fictitious names of people who are not, who cannot be identified, people who are nowhere to be seen, and you say you are giving money to this person, to that person that has not been verified, that has not, whose identity has not been ascertained, it becomes problematic, because it means that the monies are not going to. So I think the part that has by is that's the Anambra State business agency. The part they're going to play is to be able to ensure that the identities of the beneficiaries of these programs are clear and open for all to verify. And also on the part of the government, I think some of these programs, the government might need to come up with a committee or a group that are going to ensure its supervision. If possible, can include civil societies to see that there is an exchange of ideas and of course there is checks and balances in the processes to ensure that it is open and it is fair to all, and most importantly, that these palliatives are given to the people that need them, so that they do not end up in people's private pockets, and of course, so that they are also not abused.
Now, when this, what do you think will happen when this document is implemented to the latter, and what do you think will happen when the reverse becomes the case, you know?
Yes, I want to admit that, you know, because mostly government is a process. Progress is also a process. Development is a process, not a destination. And so, based on that, people need to understand that, and so sometimes also when you come up with ideas and then you put it out in the field, it begins to have some other, begins to go towards so many other unforeseen direction. That is especially what happens in socio-economic, social settings. Because human beings, you can't be able to gauge people's behavior ahead of time. You can always, you know, try to assume based on this or that, then this could be the result. And so, but it's not always like that. So, but what I'm saying is, I think what the government has said is mostly practical. Now, on the part that the federal government is going to do, like the governor said, when the CNG vehicles, that's the compressed natural gas vehicles, are released or imported, or when they are delivered to the federal government, that the government of Anambra State will partner to ensure that reasonable numbers are brought into the state to enhance or to improve intra-state transportation. So that was very clear. So you could see from here that it would depend on the federal government's compliance with that policy. You know, so now also the state governor said that when the president committed to giving 50,000 monthly to nano industries. So now that would also depend on the release of that fund by the federal government. And also, where the federal government also committed to the agri loan or grant, and also of 500,000 and so on. You see that some of these things are dependent on the federal government's response to their own policies. So now, when the federal government responds positively, we expect it to trickle down to Anambra State, and we expect the government of Anambra State to take the fullness of advantage of these policies and ensure that it gets to the people that they are meant for. And so that's about it. But on the other hand, we can also see quite, you know, clearly, like when we talk about the the increment in civil servants salary 10%, and of course the 12,000 extra palliative that will be made available to civil servants, and also the discount of 20% to KK drivers and the rest, and also the free medical attention to pregnant women in terms of antenatal and delivery. So these are things that are strictly under the purview of the state government, and we expect to begin to see action on them immediately, because these are things that if you walk into the state teaching hospital there, you can see people, pregnant women who are there for antenatal, you can see those who came for delivery and the rest. So if we would like to see a situation where when we go to the field to observe these things, we see that they are there, that these things are actually happening, that people are actually taking advantage of these provisions. The provision for primary health care, which the governor said, we expect to see those things from next year, because as of now, clearly there is no provision for that in the budget. So we expect to see the government taking a new approach to primary health care centers across the state from the 2024 budget, because of course right now there is no provision for that. So these are indices. This is how people should be able to weigh in, balance the government policies or pronouncements, and see that they are fairly analyzed and also of course followed up to see that the government has implemented what the government has said. So what we expect to see now as we are speaking is the free antenatal for pregnant women, the free delivery for pregnant women in government hospitals, the discount on taxis, the for KK riders,
and when it was not when it is not implemented,
yes,
what happens?
then we know. Now it means that the government would need to, of course, it could be sabotage, or it could spell, and that's part of why people do not really have
and
a lot of faith in government.
the hardship that is already people are already facing, when these things are not really implemented.
You see, because that's why I said these ones are within the purview of the state. So there is no excuse. The government cannot give any excuse why, for instance, if the governor says that he or that the government has decided that the government of Anambra State has resolved within its executive, within the executive council, that the pregnant women in Anambra State can go to government hospitals that are owned by the state.
Okay, now, Ebuka, I think it's important to talk to handlers of this, because we're talking about government hospitals and the pregnant women going to deliver free of charge, and of course the antenatal being free of charge. There are some attitudes that we may see in the hospitals in the course of attending to these ones, because it is free. So I don't know what you can tell them.
Well, yes,
you don't be surprised that you may go to some of these facilities and see these people neglected over what governments have said.
You see, that's part of why, in fact, I know a lot of people who they don't care about government-owned hospitals because of attitudes. And of course, we need to get this straight. The number one problem we have in Nigeria is the attitude to work of people who are in government, of people who are in public service or civil service. Because government is seen as something that can be exploited. Government is seen as no man's business. It's seen as something that you can just do anyhow. It's something that you can just trivialize that without consequence. And so that attitude has been there. So, but I think we need to, the government would need to, I think it's a different thing altogether anyway, but the government would need to, or the civil service would need to come up with ideas on how to begin to address these issues. Because it's a major problem, attitude to work, and most times people are discouraged from accessing government health facilities because of this type of attitudes. And so, like, when they paid, they were not so well treated. So when they are not paying now, how would they be treated? So I think it's a problem really, but also people should be able to report some of these issues. They should be able to report some of these issues to the authorities, because what happens is that those who are the rank and file of the health wrongs in the hospitals, they maltreat people, and sometimes all these things are not, they do not get to the authorities for disciplinary actions to be taken against them. So the people should also know that it is their right. So if the government says that you are free, you go for antenatal free of charge, you deliver free of charge, it becomes a right for you. And so when you are not dignified while assessing this right, is a ground for you to demand for proper treatment, so in form of protest. So our people should be encouraged to have this to take responsibility for when they are not treated right, and try to address it as it should.
All right, would like to thank you so much, Ebuka Onyekwalo, a blogger, a columnist, and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And actually, Ebuka has said it all. It's a beautiful policy statement made by Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo yesterday at Golden Tulip Agolo. And of course, we need to implement the statement to the latter. Would like to appreciate you so much for being a part of Good Morning Anambra show today. Let's do this again tomorrow. Bye for now.
The Anambra. Nigeria is undergoing fundamental resetting of the macroeconomic framework. The long overdue disruptive change, especially the removal of subsidy on VMS and reduction of distortions in the exchange rate comes with certain hardships on all the residents of Nigeria. Governments at all levels in Nigeria have shown a keen commitment to ameliorate the consequent short-term effects of the policy change on livelihoods. The President of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, has rolled out an agenda of palliatives as the response of the federal government. We support the federal government of Nigeria's agenda and expect to partner with the federal government to ensure that Anambra residents benefit maximally from the federal programs. Ours is a government on the foundation of the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA. We are progressives, and the welfare of the ordinary Nigerians, especially the poor and vulnerable, remains our primary focus. Our motto is, quote, "Be our brothers and sisters keeper," end of quote. There is no better time to rise up to the full essence of our motto and our ideological stance on behalf of the ordinary persons than now. In our 2024 budget, we shall roll out a more comprehensive agenda to address the medium to longer term issues that will help to smoothen the path for all our residents and ensure that everyone shares in our broad agenda of building a livable and prosperous homeland. In the meantime, and over the remaining 4 months of the year, September to December 2023, as well as within the context of our 2023 budget framework, we are rolling out a few immediate and medium-term measures. Our response recognizes that the subsidy removal affects all citizens, especially millions of the unemployed and underemployed youths and vulnerable segments of the population. Our interim response, therefore, reflects the need to target the total population. And the palliatives that we roll out are as follows, these measures. The first section is what we might call palliatives. And a part of it is what we call salary augmentation and cash award. In the first instance, I'll need to remind you that in our foresighted response to the rising inflation, our government had increased the salaries of all public servants by 10% effective January 2023. And we have been paying the 10% adjustment since January 2023. We started off this even before the removal of subsidy. In addition to the salary increase, we will be paying every pensioner and every public servant in the employment of Anambra State government and the 21 local governments, and that's approximately 59,000 persons, for the period September to December 2023, a monthly flat non-taxable cash reward award of 12,000 naira each to augment to augment their monthly take home. We will continue, so someone who is earning minimum wage of 30,000 will now go home with 42,000. Isn't that for this period? We will continue to clear the backlog of gratuity and pension of our pensioners. Recall that we made 4-year pension and gratuity arrears when we assumed office, which we have been paying since assumption of office, and we will continue to do so.